to Insurasales Live. Brandon Todd here, and today we got a very, very special guest, someone I've been wanting to meet for from the first time I ever heard of him. This is a guy, we were here at the 8% conference, and this is a guy that everyone here are all stars, rock stars, but when he speaks, everyone just shuts up and starts taking notes. Landon Mccarter, sometimes known now as the GOAT of internet marketing and insurance marketing.
Thank you.
People are calling you that, so good to see you, man.
Thanks for having me. Well, I think the world of what you guys are doing. Appreciate you guys being a title sponsor. And the more I get to know you and your staff, you guys are killers. I love what you guys are doing, so thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So tell us about Landon. You're going to tell everyone about the analytics, how to scale their business and all that. I want to know about you.
So I come from a long line of teachers. My dad was a teacher for 40 years. My aunts and uncles were teachers. My mom taught swimming lessons. I love teaching people. That's just kind of inside of me. And so one of the things that I've really learned in the marketing world is that people work with people to educate them. And so this whole legacy that I've gotten has really led me into a marketing degree. I don't know why that sort of clicked for me, but I got my degree in marketing at Missouri State University. I then had an entrepreneurial sort of niche, and so within 9 months of graduating, I started my first company. It was a direct mail company that was essentially doing direct advertising, essentially. And then I built that to 27 locations and franchised it. And then about 2016, the traditional print media world started losing market share to digital. So I had all these franchises that were struggling. So I said, okay, I got to roll out some digital products for these print publication franchises. I rolled out the digital products. Once I ended up with the digital products, then I ended up basically saying, okay, now you have print and you have digital. Well, the digital just took way off. So I sold the print, and then all I did was digital marketing. Yeah. And then about 3.5 years ago, the digital marketing world changed. So I got a question for you. Of all the media spend that that is across the world, what percentage do you think is digital in 2022?
10%?
65%.
Oh, 65%.
Of all the media spend in the world is digital marketing, right? So it's becoming this huge, huge opportunity of business development, et cetera. And so what that means is that in order to be really successful, you have to be niched down. You can't just be a digital ad agency like I was before. You got to be niched. So that's when I partnered with Cody, and all we do is insurance marketing, lead development, digitally specifically, and that's sort of about me, if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. It does. So what is the difference, you said in 2016, where it all shifted?
Well, okay, so when I was getting my degree in marketing, Facebook wasn't a paid platform. So the only way to reach an actual local geographic area via zip code was by direct mail. So my first print company was actually a door hanging company. So instead it competed with direct mail, okay? But then what happened is that Facebook became a paid platform. They allowed you to target by the zip code and geography. It wasn't saturated yet. And I remember that when that first started happening, I had a couple clients, like I'll give you a chiropractor and an Invisalign practice, for instance. Okay. They were the first guys of mine that said, I'm spending $3,000 a month on Facebook. And I was like, ha, 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 you idiot, spending $3,000 a month. They're like, yeah, I've sold like 4,000 Invisaligns in the last like 2.5 months, all from Facebook on $3,000 of ad spend. I'm like, okie dokie, so there's something here, right? So those early adopters started to be able to use digital products to be able to hit the local market. Because before that, the only really way to, you said you were early into search advertising in 2000?
2002, 2003.
So you were early adopter, man. Kudos to you, because there was very, very, very few people on a non-national basis using Google search ads to grow their business. That means that you were an innovator, you were ahead of the game, because that was practically non-existent on the local level. There was very few people. Well, once Facebook started taking place, then Google started sort of doing local type products. I don't know if you remember display advertising with banners and remarketing and all that stuff. Right. Well, now you can start targeting local areas. And so that's what shifted, was that the local business was then now able to not need a traditional media to basically market. They could use digitally and they could target it. So it kind of like took my print direct mail response rates through the floor. Like we just started really just getting crushed. And then the direct response from Facebook and Google were killing it. So that's that story.
And the cost on the Facebook and all that compared to print was
nothing at the time.
Right.
Nothing. You could reach thousands of people for pennies because they were just trying to get their paid platform figured out.
Right.
So it was a golden age.
Well, I cut my teeth in the golden age of search marketing.
Oh, so and you probably made a lot of money.
Yeah, we did great. I mean, you used to Google Medicare supplement insurance, and Medigap 360 came up before Medicare.gov.
Yep. Dude.
And this is when everyone was saying that everyone's telling me, seniors aren't going to be on the internet. Seniors aren't going to be on the internet. They were literally telling me that.
No.
It's like, okay.
They say that now about TikTok.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sorry, they're on TikTok.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You're getting a big thing with seniors on TikTok,
Oh, yeah.
right? Yeah. I mean, seniors, like you start looking at it, the people who are seniors now in the world, it's rock stars and things like that from the 80s.
Sure.
Now seniors. So what do you see as the future, and for the individual agent right now, what is the struggle they're having, and is there a golden nugget, or is there some kind of, what's your advice that you give to the agents trying to get started?
Yeah, for life and health, as two particular verticals, those are what I'm most comfortable with talking about, because that's what I do most of from a marketing standpoint. One of the things, it can be analysis by paralysis for an individual agent, and a lot of times there's so many opportunities of which lead to get and all that they'll get kind of lost in the weeds a little bit. So if your question is what should they do digitally, or what should they do as just a marketing strategy, I'm thinking I'll just answer the question of what should they do digitally. I love direct mail. Direct mail is great, but I'm going to leave that out of the conversation and just go to digital, right?
Okay.
So what's happening is that there's a lot of digital lead vendors, a lot of transfer vendors. A lot of these leads are originated on an actual lead form that you filled out online at some point, and it's beat up and it's going to overseas call center, and they beat that person up. And like you said earlier in our panel, a lot of these individuals are just kind of getting pushed into a sale, and the individual agent is a lot of times like kind of the third or fourth in line after they've already said yes to 3 different call centers. And if they can really make an impact on that agent, they can have a really, really qualified conversation and keep that client and take them from the call center, but that's also hurting the market overall sometimes. Right. I know you would agree with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So, but unfortunately the individual agent is kind of competing with that. So my recommendation right now is, I think in the future where we're headed towards is that COVID taught the market something really important. What they taught the market is that the consumer is willing to do business virtually. They still want to work with an individual agent if at all possible, but they're willing to have that be a virtual meeting. And 2, they want to do business on their time, and therefore this idea of a pre-booked scheduled appointment is more ideal than a phone call that I get randomly because I went through a form fill.
Right.
So what's happening is the consumers are actually booking appointments with a potential agent, and it's working, and they're getting sales. And so what I think is you're going to see digital lean into is going to be a little bit more of a performance-based pre-booked appointment as another sort of way to scale a local agency. You can obviously already take direct mail leads or digital leads and outbound dial those, or you can take live transfers. But from a digital standpoint, I really believe that pre-booked appointments are going to start to make a big push.
And what's the proper way to get those pre-booked appointments, like from a quality? I mean, is this the same thing? Someone filled out an online form somewhere, overseas call center now gets them to go to a pre-booked appointment, or
not necessarily?
How are those things? Because that's what people are going to try to make it.
Sure. So let me just use one vertical as an example. I'll use life insurance and retirement as an example.
Okay.
So we have a digital funnel that targets a specific niche of people across a particular state footprint. So let's just say you're an annuity and an IUL producer, you have 5 states that you're licensed in, and you want pre-booked appointments. So we have a mousetrap that we've built that can spit out $125 appointments that are guaranteed to show up. These individuals have seen a call to action on an ad, they have responded to that call of action, they've went to a landing page, they've answered some questions of what they want to talk about, and they've scheduled that appointment with an actual retirement specialist. Right. Now, we have on that confirmation on the calendar, integration, all that, they're not meeting with Thrive Wealth, they're meeting with John Jacobs, and that person still wants to meet with John Jacobs. So I took, as a consumer, I had a call to action, and I'm meeting with John to talk about my problem. Then if you can connect that script to how you generated the lead, then you're actually helping the client. It's not this mass thing.
That's where I'm going with it. So when you're doing that for your clients, is that a transparent process where they see how it was generated, from where the source was, what forms they filled out, and all
Correct.
of that?
You're passing those call to actions so that they have context of how to start the conversation.
Okay, because that's the most important thing. Most things that are happening in the industry right now, people are buying things, they don't know where it came from.
I agree.
It's a lead. It's either aged, it's
I agree.
It's
some blended name and a number somewhere.
Yeah, and it's a pre-booked appointment, not a pre-booked appointment, but a live transfer, an age lead, or a data lead. It's mostly what people are getting. They have no idea where it's from. And if you try to call these call centers and lead companies, you start asking where this lead come from, and they won't tell you.
I agree. I agree.
That transparency, I think that's what's missing, is people don't see this lead as a human being having an experience with a need.
Completely agree.
And so what's the challenge for you for educating your agents on having that? Is it a breath of fresh air to them, first of all?
Well, yeah, but what I'll tell you too is what you're talking about is obviously an ideal situation, but it's not the cheapest.
Right.
So a lot of times the actual opportunities of the actual leads that I can get in front of, you don't have the budget technically to have the patience to build out that particular marketing campaign.
Right.
So where an individual agent can struggle sometimes is, yeah, I don't have $125, Brandon, to pay for a pre-booked appointment.
Right.
So now what? So then they're back to your challenge of, okay, well, where do I get my leads, right? So, you know, my really advice to an individual agent.
And they don't want to, when they're buying the lower quality leads, they don't want to know where they're from. No one wants to tell you where those are from.
That's true. That's true. So,
I mean, that's
so
what's happening.
what I would tell you is that marketing, nothing works a lot, everything works a little, and it all changes. And so the main important thing is to have that customer experience be congruent from top to bottom.
Exactly.
You want to try to have control of your marketing if you can. If you can, it's not cheaper to do that necessarily, but that way you're building your brand and you're able to control the customer experience from top to bottom. That might hurt your cost per acquisition, but if you're really taking care of a client like you need to, your cost per acquisition isn't quite as important because your lifetime value of that customer is way bigger. But a lot of people kind of want the quick, sweets, they want the candy. Hey, look, I want to spend $250 per customer to acquire it. It's like, okay, well then you're dialing aged leads, and it's just, you're not able to control that customer experience. And that's why the big call centers are failing, right? You got eHealth that went out of business, and you got Assurance that missed their earnout, and that was a $4 billion transaction. I don't know if you remember that or not.
I don't know the details of it.
So Assurance took a $4 billion transaction to exit out, and then they had a $2 billion earnout. Well, they've missed all their targets, because that customer experience just wasn't there.
Right.
The cost per acquisition might have been there, but the attrition of the lack of the call center being able to keep that customer, because the first real agent that came in and cared about the customer took that customer.
Right. Yeah, so if you're looking at CPA, we're talking about this now, if you're looking at CPA only, then you can get the easiest person to sell and get a whole bunch of those.
100%.
And then the next person who's going to call them, they're going to replace them 3 months, 6 months
And your
later.
effectuation rate and your persistency goes through the floor.
And it's not a scalable, sustainable business.
And what do carriers really want? They want persistency. They want effectuation rates, because that's how their formulators are all built out. So
that's what we're getting from all the MA carriers right now. They're like, we don't need any more distribution. That's not our problem. We got distribution.
We want quality distribution.
Quality is horrible. Not only is the churn bad, but it's also the placement. The quality of the agents, the quality of the suitability planning and all that. It's not there. People are, and an insurance carrier, if you're United Healthcare, you get an application, you have to submit it you have to issue it as submitted. And they're like, this is the wrong plan for someone.
I agree.
But they're not getting the people. So that's the challenge from the carrier side all the way down to the ground floor. Everyone's like missing quality.
I 100% agree.
Quality?
Well, and one of the things that, just as a testament to our industry, is that the reason that they're not able to really ratchet down on that quality is good news for us, because the opportunity is so big. There's 10,000 people turning 65 every day in this country, and there's never been a population boom like there has been right now. And there's so much opportunity that will get corrected, but for right now, we are sitting in the best industry in the world. I love this place. It is so fun.
I agree, but we got a lot of cancers. We got a lot of work to do to clean it up.
That's true.
And that's why I'm liking the conversations we're having, getting to know you.
Good.
You have that same heart and
Good.
that same quality.
Good.
Everything I'm about right now is how can we empower the individual agent? How can we try to create quality, make insurance great again, so to speak, right? How do we get back to one-on-one interactions? People saying, what is insurance? It's a trust transaction. Look, when shit goes down, you call your insurance guy, right? We're going to be here when things are bad. People trying to commoditize that, make a quick buck, these call centers, you sell it, you can't ever talk to them again. You got to talk to a whole other department somewhere else across the states. Those things are not sustainable.
I agree.
Again, big opportunities for us. Big opportunities for all the agents out there, because I tell you from my call centers, when you approach someone different, I mean, what we're getting a lot of people is they have it that's, hey, what's your Medicare number? Well, as soon as you answer the phone, treating them like, just come on. You call them and say, hey, look, we've been in business for a while. We want to take care of you and multiple generations of your family, all your friends and family. These people are just like,
it's a different experience.
This is great. And they do give you referrals. They do all that if you take the time to have quality transactions. I mean, I preach never to spend less than an hour and a half on the phone with a client.
Yep.
These big call centers are saying 15 minutes.
Yep.
When you do a deal,
Yep.
it takes 14 minutes to do a transaction.
Sure.
If you're rushing through it.
Sure,
So,
100%.
So what do you think that we can do as entrepreneurs and for the agency owners out there, because especially those good at training and recruiting and all that, to restore quality to our business?
Well, first off, these mega call center operations, it's their LTVs, our lifetime value of a customer, is so low because they can't take care of a customer like you're talking about.
Right.
So an individual agent right now has the advantage in the market because they can build a relationship, they can have that person come to the brick and mortar, they can serve them cookies, they can meet them at a seminar in person. A call center can never do that, right? So you might look at big call centers as maybe competitors, and they kind of are because they're plucking your customers a lot of times, but the individual agent has so much opportunity right now because they just can't get the job done. And right now, the carriers are allowing it because there's so much demand. I mean, did you know that United Healthcare during AEP drops 2,000 calls a day of people that want to enroll with them, but that they just can't handle? That's how much opportunity there is. So that means as an individual agent, you're just scooping up that opportunity.
Right.
And an individual brick and mortar Medicare shop, as an example, is one of the most valuable ways, I think, to grow a business, because that lifetime value of the customers will only get better and better and better. And I know if you know Brian Askins, Cody Askins,
sure.
They do a fact find that's full, like inclusive of what is everything I can help you with. They do PNC, they do Medicare, they do annuities, they do IULs, they do retirement planning, they have CPAs that they refer, they have trusts that they refer. That's what it means to really take care of somebody.
Right.
And you can't do that as a call center.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now it's just fun because I think a lot of times people see Joe Namath on TV and they're like, F Joe Namath, and he's a bad guy, and he kind of is, like, absolutely driving a lot of weird situations. But we have advantages as individual agents over
He's
that.
an actor on the TV show.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
But an individual agent has more opportunity now than ever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and again, like, if people, we're not worried in any of my agencies about losing to the e-health of the world.
Yep.
We do enough good of a job. Like, when you raise someone's buying temperature by doing such a good job and connecting with them on a deep level emotionally, and letting them know, look, this may not be the last policy you ever need. I'm the last agent you'll ever need. We're going to be here for multiple generations of your family. You don't need anyone else other than us. We're not captive. Always call us. You start prepping that on the front side. When someone else calls and go, hey, what's your Medicare number? Like, they're not gonna they're not going there.
No.
You, by doing quality, you raise someone's temperature of what it takes for them to buy. And because I've trained this from the beginning, is when you're making a sale, you think you're competing against the person they have or the product they have. You're competing against the guy who's going to come in next month, next year, next AEP.
Yep.
You're competing against all of them. So if you've taken the time to get a customer, which is almost impossible to do, I mean, you got to get a lead source, you got to get all the things to get in front of a customer. And now you got them to the point of sale. That little 10, 15 minutes extra doubles the lifetime value of that customer.
Totally agree.
And then it creates the referrals and the multiplicative effect. But so many people are so afraid when they make that sale, they want to get out the door real quick before they say no.
Totally agree.
And they don't realize what it is. So that focus on quality, I think, is something that we're hearing from all the successful people here.
100%.
And it's what's much needed in here.
Absolutely. And it's not easy to do, but that's just good business practice in general, right? Like,
Right.
So, I mean, I couldn't agree more.
But in a world with there's increasing commoditization, there's a lot of mergers and acquisitions,
Sure.
all these things. Everyone seems to be looking for the short flip. If I can get EBITDA to a certain value, is that going to fall around, or does the industry learn its lesson on that?
I wish I knew. I've never really been, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. My gut tells me that the reason that they are doing acquisitions is just like what Wall Street is doing acquisitions for, is because a group can go to a small Medicare shop with 1,500 clients or whatever, and they can acquire that customer or that block at a 1.5 or a 3x multiple of their EBITDA. They can package that with their overall block, and they're going to get, if they got 25 million, you're going to get like a 20x on that multiple.
Right.
So I think that is transactional, but they're also trying to cross monetize that. So is that model going to go away? I don't think it is necessarily, but that puts more value on the individual entrepreneur building their own book of business, and then that gives you an opportunity to exit if you want to choose to do that. So
Right.
I don't know.
Do you think agents should exit their business? I mean, I know it's a situation by situation, but in general.
Depends on what you want. I mean, you talk to Dr. Billy Long. He's a friend of mine. He was one of the speakers. They do $1 billion in premium a year in the PNC market.
Right.
You talk to him, he says, no way, I'm in it for the legacy. I want my grandkids to have a piece of what I'm doing, right? So that's exciting for him. There's other people that kind of notice that in general, sometimes commissions, especially Medicare or ACA, sometimes those commissions are volatile and they can change. They're just trying to hit a sweet spot, maximize for 3 to 5 years, take an exit, move on to the next thing. Because there's, as you know right now, like med subs right now are tough to market for. I mean, med subs are hard. Like the market is speaking into a place that says Advantage is kind of what the market is leaning into right now, unfortunately, from a product standpoint. So the marketing on med sup specifically and only is more difficult now than it's ever been. So we're watching call centers. A lot of our clients are pivoting into Med Advantage. They're not shutting down their med sup operation. It's not like there's not to be money to be made there.
It's almost reluctantly. Right?
Yeah, but you kind of the market's spoken, right? And so some people choose to maybe exit on that side. I mean, it's just business. You got to make those decisions one at a time.
Yeah, I think if I had advice to give to the individual agent out there. Now everyone has a different thing. I've been at times where I'm like, please someone write me a check. I want to run away from
Sure.
But if I started over today, if you look at the lifetime value or multi-generational value of what you're getting, that check, it might seem big, that multiple you get, but if you look over a generation, you're trying to build that generational wealth, like it's not worth it at all.
Sure.
But you have to be bringing along your successors. You can't build your business in a way that depends solely on you.
100%.
And so I'm telling everyone, my team, everyone I'm coaching is bring 3 successors along with you. At any time, you should have 3 successors around you that could potentially be your successors. Because at some point you may lose interest, something else might happen, you could have health problems, something else could happen. But that equity that you have in what you built can serve multiple generations of your family, and that's really it. Instead of having it repackaged and resold on Wall Street 5 times, and if you have your name on something in a local community as well,
totally different.
That value,
totally different.
What is it? If I spent 25 years in a local community building my name and standing by my promises and all that, what is that name worth in that community? What kind of multiple is that?
Priceless.
Because you could have a grandson come in and he knows the next new thing.
Sure.
And he can just start off on your name.
I really believe in the local agent. I believe that insurance is a product that everybody needs. I mean, if you look, it really clicked with me. I'm not sure how much time we have left. Do you have any idea?
Nico, how much time we have?
19. Okay, we got 5 minutes. Sorry to interrupt. I just didn't want to be late to my 12:30. Sure. You can edit that out, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that clicked with me when I first started in the insurance business, because ironically, before I was in the insurance marketing world, I said there's 2 industries I never want to touch: insurance and real estate. Isn't that funny? Right? And the reason I did that is because I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. I didn't know what's going on. And I went to a Cowboys game.
Why did you say that?
Because my traditional marketing agency had a very tough time being successful with real estate agents and insurance agents, because insurance is a different marketing than traditional marketing. It's different. I can extrapolate on that at a different time because it may take me some time. But from a traditional marketing standpoint, insurance is completely different. Insurance is lead dependent typically, and a general marketing budget a lot of times is not lead dependent, and so it's a very different animal. So I didn't understand that, so I said I wanted to stay away from it. But it really clicked with me whenever I partnered with Cody and I went to a Cowboys game with them. And have you ever been to a Cowboys game?
Yeah.
100,000 people in one building.
Right.
Okay. I walked into the atrium. I saw 100,000 people, and for some reason, I think it was actually the Holy Spirit. I think it was God saying, "Look at all of these seats. Every single one of these seats is paying an insurance premium, and a lot of them are using insurance as a retirement vehicle." And I'm just sitting here looking at what could potentially be $1 trillion of insurance premium. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the opportunity is so great. And then I was like, okay, now
just that visualization.
It just clicked with me. Because I didn't really ever put together the concept of having the opportunity of what insurance can be. So then my heart really is entrepreneurship. I love entrepreneurship. I really love going from nothing to something. I don't like as much running something. I like a lot more to go from nothing.
100% aligned there. The next part is infinitely harder.
Dude. And in fact, I'm not even good at it.
Depending on your skill set. I mean, like there's very few people who have that ability to spark that beginning, nothing to something.
Sure.
There's a lot of, once you get something pretty well established,
Sure.
there's a lot of managers and growers out there in the
Sure.
world. But there's,
Well, and I don't even necessarily have that skill set of operate. I'm not much of an operator myself, but I really pride myself on being a pretty good entrepreneur. I've started a lot of companies, I've had a lot of exits. And so, but there's no better path to entrepreneurship than the insurance business. You can start a business and with a license and hustle, get cash, then figure out what you want to do. Maybe insurance isn't the end game for you. Maybe you want to open up a gym. Fantastic. You can't open up a gym without hundreds of thousands of dollars. So how are you going to get that? If you don't have mom and dad to help you cut a check, you don't find investors or add on debt, you got to build a business that's attainable at this point. And the insurance model is very simple. Work your butt off, people need it anyways, find some type of marketing and lead source to scale, build a bank, and then maybe you can exit at that point and build your dream gym, or maybe you can keep doing insurance and helping people. That's why I love insurance so much.
Yeah, the common man, for the common man to just come in and find a way to be a millionaire.
Yep.
I don't think there's any other business like it. And what you guys are doing with the 8% conference and what you're doing for leads and generating leads for the guy on the ground, helping him find that path.
Yep.
And the soul of what you're doing, from what I can see so far and the feedback I've heard, is really helping people on that journey. So
yeah.
It's cool to know you, man. It's cool to be associated. I hope we can do more business and get to know each other better.
Cool.
But thanks for being on. Any final words
Well,
for the people
first
out there
off,
trying to build their business?
Well, how about I just edify you? So I've heard about this Brandon Todd guy, and I knew you were a killer. I knew you were an entrepreneur, but we never met, right? And I'm hearing nothing. Your keynote killed it, right? I hear a lot of feedback on that. And then also, we appreciate your support. I mean, you guys came in at the title sponsor, and we can't do this alone. And you know, like the more we talk, the more I feel like there's a reason why we're all aligned. You know, like we're all just kind of entrepreneurs trying to figure it out. And so I appreciate you. I appreciate your friendship now, and your team is awesome. I love Sandra. I've known her for a while, and then it's just you guys have a great team, a great just core team that last year you guys were giving us referrals before we even knew you guys, and then your guy was like telling me, yeah, I gave you a referral last year that was worth 50 grand. I'm like, I didn't even know who that was, and I became very embarrassed. I'm like, who the heck doesn't know the company that gives you a $50,000 referral? That's unacceptable.
Right.
So I appreciate you giving me the time here, and it's great to get to know you and your team.
A digital marketing guy that's got thousands of transactions going a day, right?
Still though,
that is, but
still
that's where you go. Hey, gut check. Let's
yeah,
find some kind of feedback
check yourself a little bit, Landon.
Right.
So I appreciate you. I appreciate your team. It's been awesome.
Yeah. So I love the abundance mentality and all that, and I can't wait to see what's to come, man.
All right,
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.